welcome back. You're watching The Big Idea. Now, South African townships have proved to be full of potential and entrepreneurial spirit. However, many residents and businesses struggle with limited access to formal financial services, amongst other challenges, hindering their ability to grow and succeed. Today, we explore how we revolutionize township economies by promoting financial inclusion, encouraging entrepreneurship and driving economic growth. CEO of Poket Money, Edwin Anderson, joins us now with more insights. Edwin, thank you for your time. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you, and thank you for having me.
I'm keen maybe to start off, Edwin, by defining township economy. I think it's one of those terms where I think we all think we know what we're speaking about, but it's very possible that our ideas about what the township economy actually is could differ. I'm keen to get your thoughts and maybe your ideas on this one.
Yeah, I think for me, when I look at township economy, I'm not just only looking at township economy, I'm also looking at even the rural economy. I look at it as economies that are actually marginalized. It's like there's a sort of a neglected market that people tend to ignore, or they don't want to give access to such kind of people. So that's the market that, when it comes to my mind, that's the township and the rural economy.
I actually love that definition because, of course, that's what's the whole point of townships, right? It was spatial apartheid. It was supposed to be on the peripheries. It was supposed to be excluded. And 30 years later, we're still grappling with this issue of exclusion there. And when you take stock of why, even in post-democratic South Africa, townships would still be battling to get the right support, especially the entrepreneurs in the area. What do you think causes that?
No, I think it's to do with history as well. I think that's one of the things that is there. And I think also there is a notion to think that also in the township, there isn't enough capital or resources that can actually sustain a business. And there's a lot of perception, negative perception about what happens in the economy. So people tend to shun away from these type of economies. But you would realize that it then creates a lot of problems for the people that are actually in the township economy. Like, for instance, if there are places right now to say that if a person wants to withdraw money, they have to travel, maybe take a taxi for a certain amount, then they need to go and get such services. So those are the challenges that we're actually getting to see. For example, I want to travel by a bus or by a ticket, by air. For me to go and get such services, I need to go maybe to town in order for me to buy my ticket. I can't just go to the nearest spaza shop or do it even within my space if I don't have the right resources. Those are some of the things that I think why many people tend not to invest in the township economies, because they think the return of investment might not be worth it, or the perception of the danger associated with the township prohibits many people from accessing that.
What we also know about townships here in South Africa, Edwin, is the fact that, none of them are homogenous pictures. There isn't like a township person that looks the same, and you can even see that from a personality, a perspective. I'll tell you, somebody from Soweto is sometimes different from a person from Alex, who's different from a person from Tembisa, for instance. It really is not just a single picture person. And what I do find sometimes is that when we're trying to solve for the township, we try to slap on an urban solution that is a one-size-fits-all. It's not quite how I think things work there. And I'm keen to find out about those important nuances there, as we're trying to assist township economies to thrive, understanding that and the importance of those nuances.
Yeah, I think there are many ways in which you can create a product. Some people tend to create a product, then they impose it on the market. Then other people, they identify the needs and wants of the people, then they tailor-make the solution. But because maybe some of the people that are creating products for the township, they've not had any township experience, so they don't really understand the market, how it operates, and what are the challenges that people in the township are experiencing. Hence, you realize that some products they don't really do very well in the township because of that. But I'm for the idea that if you have been in the township before and you know the challenges surrounded by the people in the township, you then create a solutions to take advantage of all the disadvantages that the people in the township are actually creating. Then from there, you then be able to realize that you are actually doing something that people need, and your business starts growing from there.
Now let's talk about the issue of financial inclusion, maybe, and how we see that. What we do know, for instance, that if you go to any township, for instance, it might be a largely cash society. People aren't financially excluded. They're just not operating the way that people might operate in suburbs and in urban areas. So let's talk about how we also define financial inclusion for township economies.
Okay, yeah. So township economy, I think like what you have highlighted, in the township, cash is king. But also there is a certain market in the township that is also trying to prohibit, that is trying to run away from the use of cash. So when you are now creating your product, you don't neglect that part of cash, but you also make sure that whatever we are now offering people is also ready for the future. So at Poket Money, what we have done is that we have understood that cash is king in the market. And we try by all means to make sure that cash circulates in the township economy. But at the end of the day, we are also trying to remove the use of cash, because the more cash you use, it means that you are also increasing the risk associated with with cash. And we also have got people that that also want to go to the township, but they also want to use digital platforms in which they can be able to transact. So we are now saying that, as we have understood, and as we also come from the location, we understand that we have given the ability to say to a gogo who is selling sweets in the streets or in the corner to accept digital payments. We have actually created QR codes for that gogo to say that if anyone wants to make a payment, they can simply just scan that QR code and money is available immediately into their platform, or they can also just tap and go on their phone. They don't need to have a device. They don't need to rent a device. What they just simply need to do is to have a smartphone. But hopefully in the future, we also want to make sure that they can even transact just using USSD as a form of, but we are saying that people can exchange cash within themselves to say, if I need cash, I can simply go to the nearest spaza shop. Then I can be able to get my cash. Or I can also go with my voucher, then I can go and pay for my goods and services at the nearest spaza shop. So these are the solutions that we've actually brought in to say that we don't neglect the issue of cash, and understand that cash is still a huge form of transaction in the township economy. But we are also saying that let's also accept new forms of payment, the digital platforms of making payments. So we have now given a system that allows for both the cash and the digital platforms as well.
How has this been received, Edwin?
No, it has been received very well, and we started the rollout to make sure that the more users that are actually using our platform, it also means that life is going to be much easier in the township economy, because such stories of people saying that a person has to go and travel 50 kilometers or 100 kilometers just to go and access cash. To me, I think it's unacceptable, especially in this day and age.
I also want to speak here then about, the issue of these smart devices and penetration. What do we know about that in the townships here in South Africa? and maybe even looking at the reality of many homes in the township, which are, multi-generational. How does the smartphone play a role in the running of households in the townships?
Smartphones have revolutionized the way things are done in this world. I think we are trying to make sure that as much as possible, you can actually do as much business as possible in the phone. You can do your research. You can do, but you see that many households, they still also have challenges of having smart devices that they can actually use to do transactions, and also just even the issue of network. But what we've also done, especially on the issue of network, because we're an MVNO, we are also saying that if you have got our devices, you also don't need data. You just need to just have a phone, then you can have access to your platform without using any data. So we have looked at all the challenges that people are actually servicing. Then there are also some websites that we've also zero rated to make sure that at the end of the day, if people want to use a smartphone, even if they don't have access to data, they can actually access that. So we have actually created an ecosystem which includes fintech, mobile, and also insurance, so that at the end of the day, we grow the township economy, we take care of the township economy, and we create jobs. Like at the moment, we have also started an idea for virtual call center for people in the township, to make sure that at the end of the day, you work at your own hours, you work at your own time. What you just need is just to have a smartphone. Then you can operate a proper call center, doing business in the call center with our different service providers. So we are providing solutions for the people in the township economy, so that at the end of the day, we grow that economy. If the economy in the township is grown, it also means that joblessness, a lot of even crime will also reduce, because in any society you'd realize that there is what we call there are crimes that are associated with poverty, and part of the crime is violent crimes. Most of the crimes associated with poverty is mainly attributed to violent crimes that we normally face.
This is a very comprehensive solution, Edwin. It really does sound like you've thought of quite a bit, and absolutely impressive. I want to speak about also, the challenges in rolling out a program like this. I believe that if it was as easy, many would be doing it. So obviously there've been some challenges along the way. It's also trying to, of course, make sure that yourself as an entrepreneur are leading to a point of being able to get a return on your investment. I'm keen to speak about that process there as you've tried to make sure that you do cover the various bases in a rather complex market.
Yeah, so basically what we have done in this whole space is that we try to limit our overheads as much as possible and run things on the cloud. This is what we are actually doing. So we are actually creating business that is run in the cloud in different areas. Like for instance, our fintech, you will never find any of our shops around. Basically, everything is done through your mobile phone. There's no buildings, nothing. We actually use and leverage on the resources that are actually there, to say that if you have your own a smartphone, and if you have your own spaza shop, or if you've got any business that you want, those are the things that we are actually using, to say that for you to have a call center, we put a cloud software on your phone, which doesn't need a very complicated phone. Then you can start running your call center from that phone, and you start earning. And the thing that we are also actually doing with our different partners from the insurance side, we are actually giving up to 30% a retainer on every policy that is actually paid. So in other words, if a person has got 1,000 clients, you will see that a person in the township can now actually be earning close to about 30,000 a month on a monthly basis. That's a minimum. Eh, And just imagine what that can actually do to change the whole scenario. So if we can have many households, they can. So that's why we're saying that they don't need to be full time when they are running these things. It's things that they can actually do at their own time. But there are certain compliance issues that we have to they have to abide by. If they don't abide by those compliance issues, then we might have to close them down. But these are very simple things. We've got a team, a supportive team that actually makes sure that we cater for such things.
I'm also keen to speak about the partners. You've mentioned some insurance partners there. Let's talk about how the various partners here, and of course, you don't have to tell us your trade secrets, but that make all of this possible.
Yeah, the partners that are there, it's companies that I'm associated with, that we are creating this ecosystem. So we do have a funeral company called, a funeral insurance company called Sepang and Rubimbo, which offers funeral insurance to the locals and also the foreign nationals in South Africa. And it's actually one of the fastest growing funeral companies, and it's underwritten by Sanlam. And so these are the partnerships that we've created. The reason why we've created this is we are creating companies that can relate to each other, so that when we are running them, we see value in running the ecosystem. Because if we put an external partner, they might not see value in what we are trying to do, in the vision that we're trying to do. We've tried it several times, but it did not work. That's why we have got a group of companies within our ecosystem that we actually work with. But at the end of the day, we do have other service providers that are already established that we have developed and that we have also integrated with, that we actually work with, to make sure that the amount of services that we give to our clients, or that clients can work with, are actually huge.
Well, Edwin, it's been a pleasure hearing from you. Thank you so much for speaking to us about the township economy as well as the solutions that you're creating for them. That was Edwin Anderson, the CEO of Poket Money.